Now today's first story comes from I Can't Touch the Ground, who says his fiancée announces she's bisexual after a solo trip to a wedding. Betty, 27F, and I, 30M, got engaged in January after dating for a couple of years. Our plan was to get married next year, and we had saved enough money for the wedding. Shortly after getting engaged, we moved in together at the end of January. In May, Betty was a bridesmaid for one of her friends. I was unable to attend due to my job and the fact that it was a 5-day trip. Betty had a great time reconnecting with some of her old friends. But a couple of weeks after she got back, she became moody and withdrawn. I was relieved when she made an appointment with a therapist, since she hadn't opened up to me about what was troubling her. After about 5 or 6 sessions, she sat me down one Saturday morning so we could talk. Betty had been raised in a very conservative household and had to suppress her desires until she moved out to go to college. Even then, certain ideas she denied and refused to embrace. At the wedding, she was introduced to the wife of one of her girlfriends from college, and it triggered a lot of repressed desires. Over the days they all hung out before the wedding, she told me she felt romantic and sexual attraction to women as well as men, and realized she was bisexual. I told her I was happy she finally felt safe sharing this with me, and it didn't change how I felt about her. It was a very emotional moment. She asked me how I felt about her exploring her sexuality now that it was out in the open. I said I was open to exploring it with her and possibly having a threesome with another woman to let her have that experience. She wanted a one-on-one experience with another woman and felt she couldn't do that with me present. I told her that sounded more like an affair and something I wasn't comfortable with. I asked her if she wanted to cancel the wedding and maybe separate while she figured out what she wanted to do. She was adamant that was not what she wanted, and she still was very much in love with me and still wanted to get married. But she felt like she had to explore these feelings before we settled down together. I asked her if she had done anything inappropriate at the wedding and cheated on me. I asked if she had someone in mind or had been talking to someone since she came back. She admitted to dancing with a girl at the reception, and they kissed at the end of the night, but nothing else happened. She denied talking to anyone or pre-planning anything. She knows this was a lot to throw on my plate all at once, and she didn't expect an answer right away. She just asked that I keep an open mind and keep talking about it. I couldn't promise anything, but I agreed to do some research and talk to a workmate who has an open marriage to see how they cope. I did warn her that if I found out she lied or was doing anything behind my back, there would be no second chances, and I would leave. My workmate has been super helpful and open about their relationship. My brother got me into a support group that has helped me come to terms with our relationship changes. I'm burning my way through my second book and sat Betty down Thursday night to check in and talk about moving forward. I found a couples therapist. I gave her the book I had finished, and I told her we should postpone the wedding for 6 months and then decide if that's the path we're still on. I was on a roll when she stopped me and asked if I was planning on dating other people. Like, it never occurred to her that I would be dating as well. She kinda shut down after that, barely giving one-word answers when I would ask her something. I think the longest sentence I got was, "I just don't know." She's been like that for 24 hours now. Like, she is lost in a fog. I'm just bracing myself for the inevitable flood of emotions. I would have thought she'd be happy that I was considering opening our relationship up. As an add-on, my brother came out as gay when I was 16, and my parents were very supportive, so I grew up in a very different household than my girlfriend. Apologies, the second half of my post was written much later than the first half, and after a few drinks. Rereading it made it clear I should have waited till this morning before posting it. Sorry. Post has another update shortly after, but I'll read the update first because I'm gonna do some comments at the same time. Saturday night, her fog lifted, and things got pretty heated. She said that the open relationship was my way of punishing her and being vindictive by dating other women. She was just asking for some grace to explore her feelings. I replied that she showed almost no remorse for cheating on me, and instead expected an open-ended hall pass to do so again. I told her our friends had told me she asked them not to try and say anything about what happened at the wedding, so I'd probably never know the full truth and just had to accept it was worse than she admitted to. I asked if she thought it was fair to go have sex with other people while I waited by the door like some lovesick puppy who just expected to wag his tail when she decided to come home and show me some attention. It devolved after that, and some hurtful things were said by us both. I finally gave her 3 options as she wanted to move forward. Monogamy, postpone the wedding, and go to couples counseling, no experimenting. When we get to a good place, then go with the wedding with a prenup to protect me if she changes her mind, or if she cheats again. Open relationship. We can both date who we want, and she can figure out her sexuality on her own terms. In a year or so, we can see if marriage still seems like a good option, if we're still together. Full separation. She moves out, and we can each be free to live our lives as we see fit. If and when she decides she wants monogamy with me, if I haven't moved on, then we can try option 1, but it would be a new beginning, not just picking up where we left off. She decided that she needed some space to think things out and is going to stay with friends for a couple of days. I told her before she left that if she accidentally cheated while she was gone, not to come back, except to pick up the rest of her things. This morning, I got a text from her. "I'm so sorry." She didn't answer when I asked her what she meant, and my call went to voicemail. I'm not going to reach out to her again, and will wait to let her contact me when she is ready. Previously, my fiancée announced she was bisexual and made out with a woman at a friend's wedding. On Wednesday, Betty went to a previously scheduled appointment with a therapist and told her what had happened between us. I'm not sure what all was said, but she called me on her way to her friend's house, apologizing for some of the things she said and wanting to come home and talk things out. I told her to stay at her friend's house that night and think about what she wanted, and then she could come home Thursday and we could sit down and work things out. On Thursday, we met at the house and talked over dinner. We both apologized for getting heated and saying some unfair things to each other. After talking to her therapist and having several conversations with her best friend over the last few days, she decided not to explore her bisexual urges. The idea of a truly open relationship where I was free to sleep with other people terrified her, and getting married was more important than chasing that rainbow. Her original idea had been just a free pass to see if she was missing something in her life and how important it was to her. I asked what she was asking for: a one-night stand, just dating women, or having a full relationship. She couldn't tell me exactly what she wanted. I said that didn't sound very monogamous to me or very fair. She agreed, and that's why she was giving up on exploring those feelings. Next, she brought up the notes I sent out canceling our save the date notices for the wedding. She said she was getting all kinds of calls about what happened and was caught unaware about what people were even talking about. At first, she was upset that I did that without talking to her first. I reminded her that she'd dropped 2 grenades on me, coming out as bisexual and then cheating on me. Then she left, wouldn't talk with me, and sent a cryptic "I'm so sorry" text, followed by silence. I never said anything other than we were having issues and had to postpone the wedding. Evidently, there was speculation that she had cheated on me. She switched gears and said we could still get back on track and get married next spring. I said no, because now, when one of us is out of town, my mind would be thinking of her cheating again, especially after coming out and wanting to have an affair to explore her sexuality. I said maybe after couples therapy, we could get back to a good place again, but not by the end of the year, and it'd be foolish to start planning and making financial commitments before we even knew if therapy was going to work. Plus, I wanted a prenup to protect everything I brought into the marriage, as well as my future retirement savings. She would also forfeit any equity if we bought a house together. When she protested, I said if she planned to be faithful and not change her mind later, then it would never be an issue, just something to give me peace of mind. It's been an ongoing conversation for the last few days. Betty wants to sweep the incident at the wedding under the rug and move forward with the wedding. In her opinion, exploring her sexuality isn't worth sacrificing our relationship, at least for now. We're back together and planning on counseling soon. However, In a moment of post-clarity, I realized I rushed to embrace the idea of an open relationship to allow Betty the freedom to explore new feelings. But I'm no longer willing to consider that option. I think separation is the better option, breaking up, if you will, until we both decide what direction our future lies in and if it's with each other. It's not what I want, but I also don't want to spend the next 3 to 5 years together only for her to change her mind or cheat on me again one day. I didn't have a problem with her sexuality. The problem I had was she cheated. Granted, she only made out with someone and wanted permission to have sex with someone else, male or female. That is unacceptable in what I thought was our monogamous relationship. Being bisexual doesn't give you the right to have sex with someone else while you're already in an exclusive relationship. It just means you're attracted to twice as many people. I do want to be with her and support her, but that doesn't mean I support her dating other people to explore her sexuality while in a relationship with me. Many people were suggesting to me that the best scenario for this is just breaking up. Most of the scenarios in my head end up in disaster. Breaking up and letting her find her center might be the best option. If in 3 to 6 months we both find what we want and start over, then maybe it stands a better chance than us trying to move forward the way we are now. But in 3 to 6 months, I think I would have moved on to something less complicated. The fact that she thought I wouldn't be enough and had to go experience something different to fulfill herself could be a deal breaker for me. A final comment from me says we have counseling scheduled to see what is best for us. Until we firmly resolve this issue, we won't be getting married. I don't want to have to deal with cheating or her wanting to open the marriage years down the line and then possibly getting divorced. What a crappy week! Counseling started badly. I walked into the office and saw a large pride flag on the wall. The therapist was very biased towards my girlfriend's predicament, glossing right over the cheating and into how I needed to better support Betty's awakening and her journey to blah 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 blah. Betty is the one who is confused, and I'm apparently not giving her a safe space to explore who she is. Nothing about my feelings or needs was addressed. To make matters worse, when the therapist was piling on me, I looked at Betty to stand up or say something positive for me, but I got nothing. That part hurt me the most, and I pretty much shut down for the remainder of the session. Towards the end, the therapist did try to engage with me, because you could tell she knew she had completely lost me. On the drive home, Betty tried to talk to me, and I gave her the same 3 answers I kept repeating to the therapist. Sure, nope, and maybe. This was a therapist her individual therapist had recommended us to. The next day, I got a call from Betty's mom at my work, wanting to know why we were postponing the wedding, saying our family and friends had already started making plans. I told her she needed to take that up with her daughter. She kept badgering me until I finally told her Betty made out with someone at her friend's wedding, and that was why things were on hold. Then I hung up on her. Less than an hour later, I got a call from Betty, wanting to know what I told her mom. I said I told her that you kissed someone at the wedding and were trying to work through it, but I didn't mention you coming out to me. I told her she needed to sit her mom down and tell her the whole truth, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. Then I get this text from her mom telling me that I need to suck it up and move past this, and that I might even be at fault for not going to the wedding with her. Huge text, basically giving me the business and trying to tell me what I need to do. I showed the text to Betty when she got home from work and said she needed to do something about her mother, or I would enlighten her with the full story of all our problems the next time she tried to tear into me. Betty said she would handle her mom and made me promise to give her some time to tell her everything. Also this week, Betty has gotten very protective of her phone. Yeah, major red flag. I went to charge my phone and unplugged hers to plug mine in, and she almost flew across the room to practically snatch her phone out of my hand. I was able to sneak a look at her phone later while she was asleep, only to find she had changed her access code, something she hadn't done since we'd been together. I went online and looked at our phone bill, and there were many lengthy calls to a Colorado area code, which I found out is where the girl she kissed was from. I'm just mentally exhausted at this point. The gaslighting, the lying, just feeling like I'm treading water all the time. Lately, when we've been intimate, there's a lack of passion in her that was there before all of this. I feel love-bombed without the feeling. It's just hollow words and empty gestures. Tomorrow we're going to a lookout at her parents' house. I'm gonna try and keep my cool and not say anything, crossing my fingers. But when we get back, I'm telling Betty I'm done. I'll give her the choice of keeping the apartment or moving out. She'd be free to explore and find what truly makes her happy. It just won't be me. I came clean with my parents and a few friends about this whole mess. My tribe is ready to help support me and assist with the move when I need them. Dad vetoed Mom's offer to move back home and said what I really needed was a new puppy. Definitely too old to live with my retired parents. But it feels weirdly peaceful now that I've made up my mind. To all of you who told me so, you were right. Time to move on with my life.